In 1983, it was a simpler time. Culture Club was at the top of the charts. It was when dinosaurs still walked the earth, when phones existed only in kitchens with 18-foot long cords that were perpetually tangled. And the box office included such hits as Superman 3, Risky Business, Flashdance, War Games, and a little movie called Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi was the final triumphant third act of George Lucas's Star Wars saga. This was a time before there were Roman numerals after the movies. There was simply Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and then the penultimate Return of the Jedi. You know, back in 1983 and before that, when The Empire Strikes Back was released, a hit movie didn't just dominate the box office for a few weeks, it did so for months. Now, during the lag between Empire and Return of the Jedi, much as we have now, the fan speculation, the theories, the how is this going to play out, it was endless, it was ceaseless, and it went on for several years. When Return of the Jedi hit the screens, and when I actually saw it, which was in a drive-in movie theater, as part of a double feature that included Labyrinth, check that movie out if you haven't, it was pretty good, but it was not Empire. But it was still undeniably Star Wars. It was George Lucas's vision of what Star Wars was. Now again, why have I spent all this time going over what the hell everybody already knows? Lucasfilms, again, under the leadership of Kathleen Kennedy after the acquisition by Disney, has been putting together what her version of what Star Wars is. And it is not looking forward to the future, a future after Luke Skywalker. It is going hundreds of years into the past. Now, why do I say it that way? Obviously, Lucasfilms and Disney put out 3 Star Wars sequel movies. I went to The Force Awakens. I was hopeful. What we got with The Last Jedi, for me, closed the door. I was done. This was not Star Wars. At least, this was not my Star Wars. And I will go further, this was not an original trilogy fan's Star Wars. So who were those movies made for? I honestly can't tell you. Was it just made off of algorithmic feedback from Twitter? Did Lucasfilms just look at Star Wars as another platform to push an agenda? Did Disney spend $4 billion to virtue signal? With the Disney Star Wars sequel trilogy, we may never have a satisfactory answer. But with the Star Wars High Republic launch, it is crystal clear. Now, that is just not my uninformed opinion. That was actually present. That was actually written on the whiteboard or the pages in the Star Wars High Republic writer's room. These are the elements that they built their new Star Wars product. It's the only word I can come up with. Their new Star Wars product going forward. Over the last several months, we've seen how these authors, and I'm using that term extraordinarily generously, have treated the original Star Wars canon. Now, they got to go back hundreds of years in time. They got to look at what had occurred during the Skywalker time period, and these were the stories that they decided they wanted to tell, which would eventually lead to the end of the Return of the Jedi. My omission of the Disney Star Wars sequel trilogy is deliberate. That's a personal choice. That's how I choose to look at George Lucas's Star Wars. I'm not in denial that those movies were made or that they have the Lucasfilm logo on them. However, for me, for the story that I want to enjoy, Star Wars ended with Return of the Jedi. Besides, what was the marketing around the Disney Star Wars trilogy? Who was it made for? They say that as a legacy fan who was present in the theater as a child in 1977 when the original Star Wars movie was first released, and who has loved that franchise for 40 plus years, that Disney Star Wars was not made for me. When I walked out of The Last Jedi premiere, it took me a couple days. I had to process what I had seen, but I soon accepted angrily that that was indeed true. So who is it for? Who is that audience? If we take a look at the whiteboarding, the authors, and the push behind the High Republic, I think we have an answer. It may not make sense, but we have an answer. Lucasfilms initiated something called Project Luminous in September of 2018, and it included authors Claudia Gray, Justina Ireland, Daniel Jose Older, Kevin Scott, and Charles Soleil. They apparently had a soy-filled sit-down to come up with what would be the backbone of the High Republic. Where did all this creative collaboration end up? Well, there have been a series of books that have come before it, but I'm interested in looking at Star Wars, The High Republic Into the Dark, a novel by Claudia Gray. Claudia Gray's other Star Wars work includes a young adult novel called Lost Stars. It has been described as Romeo and Juliet meets Star Wars. But wait, I thought Shakespeare was problematic and canceled. Never mind, I can't keep up with this. Claudia Gray's great contribution to the expansive Star Wars universe created by George Lucas is to create a character who is a new species called a Vindian. Or, for those of you who are especially astute observers, it's a freaking rock. That's right. Discount store Han Solo character Leo Exgassi has a co-pilot that is a piece of rock. And that rock is the co-pilot navigator on a vessel called Vessel. So, a character who's an anagram of Leo the 12th is gay has a co-pilot that is a rock on a vessel called the Vessel in the High Republic. You could have done anything. It was the Star Wars universe. You made a rock you named Geode. I don't think this is the low point yet. I don't think we're there for the High Republic. This is the state of Star Wars. I mean, you thought The Rise of Skywalker was bad. This is just asinine and pathetic. You'll have to excuse me. I try to limit the amount of soy-based products I put in my body, so maybe I'm just not capable of understanding this at a deeper level, but this is... it's just unbelievable. This is how you're going to take Star Wars forward, Kathleen Kennedy. This. I mean, I know George Lucas got $4 billion for Star Wars, but somewhere, don't you think this has got to hurt? Honestly, though, I don't think this is the stupidest thing that we're going to see out of the High Republic. I think there is going to be even more pathetic things coming out. And much like with Geode, the Star Wars moderators will block all of the negative feedback received from actual fans. And much like we've been hearing since The Last Jedi, it's just nothing but Russian bots and toxic fans and istophobic whatevers who don't like the product. Because, as they have told us, this wasn't meant for original trilogy fans. I'm sure when they actually find an audience, they'll let us know. In the meantime, though, that Star Wars High Republic product is going to keep getting pushed out. I'm just wondering, where are the action figures for this? You know, even Rose Tico and Admiral Holdo had action figures. Where's Ivar Chris's? I can tell you right now, I'll get my own Geode in the backyard. They say all good things must come to an end, and that is certainly true. For me, especially as time has gone on, the ending of Star Wars occurred in 1983 with the closing scenes of Return of the Jedi, with Our band of heroes together celebrating at the Ewok barbecue, with Luke going off to see the Force ghosts of his father, Yoda, and Ben Kenobi, nodding, handing the torch off to the next generation of Jedi. For those that want, you can go to the Extended Universe books and see how it turned out. However, I'm just going to go with the end of Return of the Jedi. I will take the happy ending over whatever it is that Kathleen Kennedy is calling Star Wars now. I'll take hope and human spirit and the hero's journey and a satisfying conclusion over whatever deconstructionalist, intersectionalist nonsense Lucasfilms has become now. I'm Corey B., and you have been listening to Salty Salish Sea.